Hi, this is Kim, and you can find me on Facebook at Living the Life Yoga. So this is the third part in a shoulder series. So the first ones were a lot more releasing fascia, really getting in and loosening the connective tissues so we can start doing a little more work. So this one we're still going to release the tissues and then add some small bits of range of motion. So it's a lot of repetition, so things that we've done before we'll start with and we'll add on. So the idea is that follow the videos and keep at it, keep releasing the tissue and slowly start getting into that range of motion, and we'll keep working and adding a little bit more as we go. So to start, what I'd like to do is to have everyone lay on your back. If you've been with me before, you know where we're going with this. So I've got my knees bent, feet flat, laying back. I'm going to move my props. I do have, I'll show you in a bit, but I've got some stuff here. So what I've done is I'm laying on the back and walking my feet out to the outside edges of the mat, letting my knees fall together, really just letting my body soften. What I want to do here is notice where my head's landed, where my shoulders are. Also want to check in to see if shoulder to shoulder we've got the same connection to the mat, noticing any differences. Also want to check in with my neck and see if I'm holding any tension. And see if I can just a little bit of a release, maybe with my breath I can exhale. And just soften a bit. So for this part, this is that noticing, that awareness, so that you can say, oh yeah, I can feel a change, I can feel where I'm holding some tension, that awareness piece. So I'm going to walk my feet back into center, hug them in, just a nice little squeeze. Even there, just noticing where there might be some tightness, or maybe things are feeling pretty good today. Then roll to one side, and then use your top hand to push yourself up to the seated position. So from here, we do need a couple of props. So I've got a foam block. These can be found all over the place. Marshall's, Winners, Dollaramas. I like the foam. It's easy, light, and then actually does what I need it to do. If you don't have a foam block, foam rollers that you may have at home can handle this. Also, I have a massage therapy ball or a yoga therapy ball. These work really great. You can use this. Think about children's play balls, tennis balls, maybe balls that come with that, the rollers you have. Look around for something, just a little bit of give, feels nice. So from here, we did this the last time. We're going to take my block. I'm going to put it underneath right into my armpit. So my knees are just, legs are comfortable, bent knees. And then I'm slowly moving down and using my hand to rest my head on. And then do whatever adjustments. You start to think, okay, I can feel there's some spots here that maybe I didn't notice before were a little bit tight. You can use that front end as a bit of a kickstand. And then you can slowly move back and just noticing, and take the time to notice. Is there any areas that feel a little tight? That just think if you're hanging into them, you can maybe feel that tissue, just a little bit of release. So in everything we do with our myofascial work, we're looking to add some lubrication into the tissues. We're compressing them, and it's just like a sponge. They compress, and then when they release again, they're going to take just all sorts of liquid in. So really creating some really nice, healthy tissues. So find us if there's any spots, hang out here. You may want to just settle back in a little bit more. Maybe you find another spot. So really releasing those right down, like our lats, maybe into our little teres muscles at the bottom there. So, we're going to be a little different where you hit, but nice release. So when we're doing our release for our shoulder, we're doing all the muscles around too. So we're not just going, okay, just doing this specific shoulder muscle. We want to get anything, anywhere around that can be pulling on our shoulder blade, that's connected, that's going to cause us some discomfort. Let's take a little bit here. So we're going to stay here for, a little bit. And if you're doing this at home, you can always stop the video and hang out here a little bit longer if this feels really nice for you. Just do a couple more breaths. And then what I'm going to do is release my head. I'm going to put my hand flat down on the ground, just that lower arm. The other hand's going to come down hand on hand, and I'm going to bring my forehead down. Now, if for some reason this seems like a long way to go, you can always have something under your hands and lift the floor up to meet your head. So now I'm getting into those muscles right in the front. Doing some release there. And let your body relax. And just soften into this. And if for some reason in any of these positions that you start to feel any tingling and numbness in your arm, notice that's not, we're not going to be worried if there's a bit of it. If it does bother you, you can always release your hand, do some movement, and then replant it where you were. Let's do a few more breaths. And then slowly start to bring yourself up. Now I'm going to slowly come up and come to the other side. So we want to do both. So lining your block up on the other side. So I don't have too much my block forward, just a bit. Same thing, get your legs comfortable. Use that bottom hand to rest your head on. Use that front one just as your kickstand, just to support you if you need it. And then slowly, very mindfully moving and noticing if there's places that are holding a little tension, maybe they're tight, maybe a little painful. So just check in and see what's happening in those areas. So I know I found out here the other day that I was just kind of had a little spot here that I thought, didn't even realize that there was a little something there. So you may discover things you didn't even know. And when you do, hang out there for a bit. Releasing the tissue, just creating a little bit of a healthier place. Remember too, as you can stay as long as you want. You can always stop the video and spend a little bit longer. Maybe you have a few spots that you want to really just drop into a little bit longer. Then go ahead, do what your body is calling out to you. Couple more breaths. And then slowly release the arm under your head. Same thing, drop that forearm down on the mat. The other arm comes hand on hand and bring your forehead down. So now you're getting into that front part of the armpit, just a little in front. So noticing where you've landed here. Now we're not looking for pain. If you're in pain, this is not what you want to be doing. A little discomfort, mind you, is that having that deep tissue massage that you go, ooh, and it feels good, but when you're in pain, we don't want to be doing these things. So always check in with yourself and be very mindful. And let yourself relax in this pose, in this place. Let's take 3 more breaths. And then slowly use your hands to push yourself up and then come up to a seated position. I'm going to put my block to the side. Now I'm going to take my ball and do just another little bit of releasing. So I'm going to come into that pec region right in here. You can feel there and move in. Now you can always do this against a wall if that seems like the right thing to do. I do like to do this, and I tend to keep my hand flat as I'm doing, applying it and circling. So you decide what kind of pressure. I quite like it firm, but you may want it just a little bit lighter, and you may find some areas that are a little tender. Same thing, like any deep tissue massage, any release, then you may just bring that in, hold on for a bit, and then get in again. See, circles are nice, or if you've got an area that seems like going across it might feel nice. Determine what's best for you. Maybe you alternate or change. I've got a little, almost seems like a little knot there, so going across it is a little comforting. So you can stay here for quite a while. I'm going to move to the other side, but remember, stop the video and you can do a little bit more. So I'm going to come over to the other side. And now seated, I just happen to be seating in this, this pose. You could be seated cross-legged, you can be kneeling, you could be sitting on a chair. So whatever makes you comfortable, you find the place that works best for you. Just because I'm doing it doesn't mean it has to be the one for you. Find what makes you comfortable. Also find the place where you think, I can do this for a while. So again, I'm just getting those places. If I find somewhere that feels like it needs a little attention, I can hold on. And again, you could do more of this. I'm going to move on so we can do a couple more things. Now, I'm going to do a little on the outside. We've done this before. I know quite a few people have mentioned that this is a place of tenderness, so be careful. If it doesn't feel good for you, don't continue. And if it does, great. And then I'm going to move over. Remember, keep doing them if you do like it. And I'm going to take that and I'm just going to go to the lower bottom here. So really, just a little bit in the back, almost where we had the block. And that can feel nice. And same on this side. So holding your arms, definitely preference. It might feel nice to have it behind your head. Hold on. So find a place that feels good for you. And as I said, do it as long as you want. Stop the video if that works. And I'm going to release that. Now we also did the neck stretch last week, so we're going to do that. Remember, if I'm sitting away that you go, it's not comfortable, seat your own way. So I always want to make sure is when I'm sitting in these places and doing stretches or doing some release, that I want to have a nice tall spine. So I'm really thinking about my head, my ears stacking over my shoulders coming in over my hips. If that doesn't feel great for you to do it naturally, you can always lift your hips up a little bit on a folded towel or blanket, and really I'm perching up on the edge. It's just on the back of the sits bones, so I could almost go forward, but it may help have a little bit taller spine. So just a few things to think about. Play around, make those adjustments that feel great for you. So here I'm in this nice upright posture. I'm going to drop my right ear to my right shoulder. And we're all going to be a little different about how far we drop in. I'm going to bring my right arm on, hand on my head, and I'm really using it as a weight. I'm not grabbing and pulling. It's just a little bit more weight, a little traction. Stay here for a few more breaths. And I'm going to start to turn my head to look down towards my right armpit. Now I'm getting into a different neck muscle. I did scalenes to start, now we're getting into our levator. And this is the neck muscle for me that causes my problem. It's the one that'll tense up. And man, when it tenses up, it's that ropey muscle in your neck. And you go, I can feel that. And it pulls on your shoulder blade. It's attached to your shoulder blade. So it can cause you a lot of different discomfort in that shoulder. So that's my place. And I'm going to slowly release that hand. Bring it nicely down to my knee, and then I'm going to tip left ear to left shoulder. And here's the interesting too, is always that just noticing side to side, if you have more range in one side than the other. Also, you know, if you've got injuries, different things that have happened with your neck, your shoulders, you can appreciate, okay, I've got less range on one side, more on the other. Remember, I can always take my hand up there just as an extra little traction, not pulling, but a weight. So be mindful of what's going on in your body. You know what's going on, but still think if you've had a little bit more openness. Then slowly start to turn and look towards your left armpit. And remember too, if staying as long as I am doesn't feel good, then you get out of it earlier. Maybe you take a break and go back. Choose what's right for you. 2 more breaths. And then release and come back up through center. And from here, I'm going to drop chin to chest. And I'm clasping my hands and just dropping them on my head. So again, it's a weight. If this is good for you, then just let your head be where it is. And if it feels okay, this is again, we're just adding a little bit of weight, a little more traction into our neck. And remember to sit up straight. Don't lose that nice spine. 2 more breaths. And slowly release. So we're going to do a little bit of release on our back as well. So I'm taking my ball, and so back, muscles, shoulders, and I'm going to get in and turn around to show you. So finding where my shoulder blade is, and I want to get right out into this area. So find those areas in your back, and we've been back here before. We're going right into that place. And I mean, we can find a lot of places in our back that you go, oh, wherever I'm at, that's going to feel good. So I go just on the side of this scapula there, sit back on my wall, and start moving back up and in and out. So again, I want to get into where that levator is attaching, because I know for me when it's hard, there we go, found it, then I know that that's going to really cause me tension in my neck. And when you find it, you go, I got it. You can just tell. And then again, we're going to start bringing our arm up and across. So a bit of the staying alive, disco arms. Now you can do a straight arm if that feels good, but I quite am enjoying it in this bent arm. But I can feel it. So hopefully when you find that spot, you'll go, oh wow, that's it. And again, I'll do a couple more, but you can do as long as you want that feels good. And I'm going to move to the other side again. I'm going to find my shoulder blade, locate that, and I want to get into that spot. I'm going to start right about there. Leaning back on the wall. You could do this on the floor, laying on your back, so find it if it is. You can do this standing as well too. And when you find that spot, if you're like me, you'll go, that's the spot. Yep, I can make any adjustment. And then start to move. And adjust if you think you don't have it quite in a place, that you're getting some sensation. So do what you need to do. And again, I could be sitting cross-legged at the wall. That might actually be better. Or I could be standing. I'm going to do a couple more. And release. Now from here, I want to start doing just a bit of movement with my shoulders. So I'm going to come to the side here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm bringing my hands out about that shoulder height. My hands are flexed, so my hands are like this. And then what I'm doing is I'm going to start pushing towards my hands and bringing them back. So I'm feeling my shoulder blades come apart, then I'm pushing them back together. So I'm not bending my elbows. I'm also want to make sure I keep a nice straight spine. So getting some movement there. So I'll do about 2 more. So notice how that feels. Notice too side to side if there's a difference. And release. Do some little movement here. Now we're going to try that same idea coming into our tabletop. So have your shoulders, your wrists lined up under your shoulders, have your knees lined up under your hips. Now I always have a little drop in my back, which means I always need to engage my core. So we're going to try that same movement that we just did seated, just with our arms, in this tabletop position. So I'm here, I'm going to keep my hands are nice and open, spread out. I'm going to keep this lovely posture. I hope it's lovely. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to bring my shoulder blades together, and I want to have them come apart. So I'm doing that same idea. I'm not bending my elbows, my arms. I'm really looking for that movement in my shoulders. Now notice how it feels to you. Notice side to side. If this is a lot, then stay with the one seated. I'll only do 2 more. So it's starting to pay attention to the movement, starting to see how it feels to be moving in our shoulders and our shoulder joints. So release that too. So a little bit of movement, not too much. Now from here, now I can sit on my knees one more time, or I can come and sit cross-legged. So pick the way you like to sit. That is completely your choice. Now from here, I'm going to bring my hands again shoulder height. So I'll show you what it looks like from the side. There we go. So from the front, I'm bringing my hands up, my palms are down, but my hands are quite nice and open. And now I'm going to do that same idea. I'm going to move my elbows back and then start moving my shoulder blades together and then apart. So starting to get some movement. If this is too much, then you back off. A little bit movement. I'll do 2 more. Remember, you can be nice and gentle. You can do a little, and we can work and warm ourselves up into it. Let's do 1 more forward and 1 more back, and then release. And then bring your shoulders up and drop, and we'll do 1 more up and drop, just if we created any tension there, we'd like to release it. Now from here, we're going to do the scapular circles. So those are really a nice release too. So we'll do slow to start, and then we'll do 1 or 2 slow, especially if you've done before, you know where we're going. So bring your shoulder blades up, then take them back towards each other, drop them down, then bring them forward. Now the same thing, if you notice, My spine is still staying straight. I'm sitting nice and upright. Okay? So up, back, down, forward. And we'll do one more. Up, back, down, forward. Now start to make it a nice smooth movement. Nice big circles. And just noticing too side to side how everything feels. Let's do two more. Now we'll try the reverse. Okay. So we are going to go up, but we're going to go then. My shoulder blades are coming front, then I'm dropping down, then I'm taking my shoulder blades together. So up, shoulder blades apart, drop down, bring them together. One more that way. Front, drop down. Oh, one more. Up, front, drop down, back, and now smooth it out. And we'll do a few more here. You're just noticing too, different going back or going front. And then again, release that, and then we'll do that nice restorative spinal roll. I quite like doing this because it allows us to release any tension that we may have. So that's when you take your blankets. Now I'm using two. You can choose how big you would like it. And I'm rolling them together. And I've got quite a nice big roll. You can do it less. If you have a bolster, round bolsters could work, or the foam roller can work as well. Then I am folding up my other blanket and using it to support my head. Now from here, I'm going to plant my feet on the mat and start to come forward, down. Now I want to have that blanket roll in the middle of my spine. I could tell right there I wasn't lined up nicely. So I'm going to come down again and just get everything sorted because you want to get comfortable here. So we'll stay a couple minutes. Then I'm going to walk my feet to the outside of the mat, bring my knees together in this constructive pose. Now I do have some space between the end of my roll down to my hips. It's going to really depend on the length of your blanket or whatever you're using as your roller. Now in this one, take your hands out to the side if that feels good for you. Palms facing forward, have that nice space at the back of your neck, front of your neck, and then have that neutral head so your nose isn't up but isn't down. Now I'm going to turn to talk to you, but I would suggest looking up. And noticing where everything's landed. Feel your head ground. Let your shoulder blades really drape on either side of that blanket roll. Let your arms be heavy where they're touching. Your hands, let them release. Let your hips really land and ground. And same thing with your feet. Let them really be solid on your mat. And then with every inhale and exhale, see if you can release just a bit more. And let your shoulder blades fall a little bit more around this blanket roll, this spinal roll. And as your shoulder blades fall, still feel that opening across the front of your chest. So right across your shoulder blades into your pec muscles. Let your shoulders right at the front really release and let go. So feel this release. This is passive, but it's nice. And I think I've told everyone this is one of my favorite before bed poses, especially when I've been busy and I know I'm going to be busy. But I do this and I pick a couple more before bed, and then it gets me really relaxed and ready. So great restorative pose. Two is if you are at home, you've been working on your shoulder, you've been doing a lot of work that maybe your shoulders are achy. This can be a nice way to release any of that achy, that tension. Stay a few more breaths. And then And slowly and really mindfully, carefully, we're going to roll off the spinal roll. So I'm coming over onto my left side. Then I'm going to reach up with my right hand and take those blankets and that spinal roll off my mat. And then roll back on my back, bringing my feet out to the edge, dropping my knees together, letting my arms drop. And then again, that checking in to see how everything's feeling, how my shoulders are landing, how my neck feels. I'm taking a couple breaths here. And then I'm going to hug my knees into my chest. A couple rocks here. And then roll to one side. And use my top hand to push me up. Now from here, I'm going to bring my shoulders up to my ears and really let them drop up. I'm going to do 2 more times. And let them go. And then I'm going to take my one arm in front, one arm in back, and then start to do just a little movement, just a little release. Just a little. And then one more on each side, and then come back. So I want to thank you for joining. So just another piece to add to your shoulder repertoire to keep working on your shoulder, keeping it nice and loose, and taking care of yourself. Talk soon.